Not the man I knew 10 years ago.
It's not the years, honey. It's the mileage.
It's not the years, sweetheart, it's the mileage. And that was a line that Harrison cooked up.
Where doesn't it hurt?
Here. Here.
This is too bad.
Everything went right. And it's just one of those things where you know, it's like a good run on a ski slope. It's like a good playing a game. It's like driving a race. It's whatever you do. You know at one particular moment that this is as perfect as it gets. It's just everything falls into place. Everything goes 100% right.
Raiders of the Lost Ark was just the beginning of a great joyride. Temple of Doom and the Last Crusade followed. Indiana Jones became a new American hero, adventurous, romantic, and smart. Indiana's popularity prompted Lucas to take the character in a new direction.
We think of George as this movie maverick, you know, always breaking the envelope, always pushing the limits of movie making. But he's doing the same thing in the realm of education.
I'm working on this television show now. It's a very bad business decision because I could be doing infinitely better making feature films. But I love doing it. I love the subject, I enjoy the process, and I'm making films that I think are very good, some of the best work that I've ever been involved with. The idea of the show is to introduce young people, and all people really, to various historical figures who made a difference in the beginning part of this century. And the premise is that when a student reads about these people in their studies at school, they will say, oh, I remember this guy. You know, he was with Indiana Jones in this thing, and they'll start reading a little bit more about it, and we have a little bit more of an interest.
What's fun is now, if we're doing the Russian Revolution in St. Petersburg, outside the Winter Palace, we're able to just take people back into an era and time where momentous decisions were made, where huge groups of people forced great changes on our society.
We want land for our peasants now!
We can let people just glimpse what St. Petersburg looked like in 1917, or Chicago.
When I created the character of Indiana Jones, there was always this aspect of the fact that he loved to play jazz, and that he was a jazz aficionado.
How'd you get so good? He's got a lot to say.
It's a very gentle story. It poses one question: what is jazz? How do we get a feeling of what it is this particular musician, Sidney Bechet, felt about his music, and the particular message that he wanted to be able to express musically to all the people around him.
There are a lot of rules that you have to conform to in order to develop a television show that we have not conformed to. It's very plot-oriented. TV shows have to be very character-oriented. It's very slow-paced. Television has to be very fast-paced.
Yeah. Give it a try. No, you play it too pretty. Let's not ruin it.
The only thing I want to do is make a very good show that has value. That to me is important.
All right. Hear that? Yeah.
If George were to do this series 10 years ago, it would take a lot more time and a lot more money to produce the same effects that we're creating in approximately 2 weeks, effects-wise. He would first have to go out, not only shoot on location, but he'd probably be creating the sets on location, hiring many extras and going through the expense of creating a motion picture in traditional ways. Today, what we do is we do still go out on location to get the ambiance that we're looking for, but then we don't have to hire as many extras. We can replicate them in the computer and create hundreds of people where maybe 8 or 10 existed before. The Ring of Horses in Mexico is an interesting effect because really it was created using only 10 cowboys and 10 horses. What we did is position the horses in a particular spot at 30-degree intervals and then film them that way. So we were given 3 separate elements that we then in the computer combined to create the whole effect. The funeral shot in Chicago is one of my favorite shots because it was one of those things, when I first looked at it, I said, oh, no way, we can't do this. This is going to be too tough. And George was very encouraging and saying, no, you can do it. I know this is going to be great. First of all, it's a matte painting, and we had to take the street that was shot on a back lot, a very flat-looking, very dead-looking back lot, and widen it so that we could fit more people into the scene. So we went back on location and shot extra people walking down the street, and were able to combine or composite all of those elements so that we got this huge procession, and we eventually ended up putting cars going across the street in the back, and it gave the ambience that George was looking for.
Over the years, I think a lot of people have complained about the death of the old studio system and the death of the moguls because, you know, they really loved film. I think in his own way, George Lucas is a throwback to that kind of person who certainly loved film, because when you go on Skywalker Ranch, you can tell that there are people that are part of a culture that's interested in making good films, that recognize they have a special gift that's been given to them to work in motion pictures.
The working environment really has come out of the fact that I started out working out of my home, and then as the company got bigger, I wanted to continue that tradition of a more home-like atmosphere, because people that work in film have to devote a huge amount of their life to work, and I felt it was important for them to have a pleasant environment to work in.
Lucas built state-of-the-art post-production facilities, which are now used by fellow filmmakers around the world.
The Skywalker sound was actually created because of the fact that I needed a post-production facility here in San Francisco. There weren't any. We're friends, and he goes, twam. Just being in San Francisco, I'm out of the mainstream of production. If I were in Los Angeles, I would never have done it. I'd just go down the street and rent a facility. THX was created because we would put a huge amount of time into the soundtrack of a motion picture, which I feel is about half of the experience.
Pow, big explosion.
And then it would get shown under conditions that would diminish the effect of the soundtrack. And fortunately, we have engineers here who were able to pull together a whole new speaker system that really made it sound in the theaters very much like it was here at the ranch where we, created the sound. ILM was created in order for me to have the facilities to create the special effects for Star Wars. And once Star Wars was successful, I needed to continue that entity because there really were no special effects facilities of that caliber that existed in the world at that time.
ILM's breakthroughs in computer graphics liberated directors to create spectacular visual images, such as those seen in The Abyss, then further and more creatively refined in Terminator 2.
Over, the next millennium, there will be enough information put into storage banks that the computer can begin to pull on its memory to create human beings. But it's the quirkiness of an actor that makes a performance work. And that can also be programmed into a computer, but it's going to take a long, long time. It is not going to happen in my lifetime. I'll guarantee that.
Close the blast doors.
I've had a very interesting career, and I've learned a great deal about making movies and about life. And I think I've just gotten to the point now where I've got everything together to a point where I can actually start my career. Up to this point, it's been a big learning experience.
We're dealing with a kind of special effects that we haven't used before, and we're trying to come up with a new look.
I still have stories I want to tell. There's still Star Wars stories I want to finish. And it's very hard for me to always figure out where I'm going. But my first love is still film. And then people say, well, which one of your movies do you like the best and all that sort of thing. They're all different, and I love them all. And I make a movie, it's like a love affair. It's not something that I rationally walk into. I can't say, why did I do that particular movie? An idea came to me. I began to fall in love with it, got infatuated with it, and it consumes my life for a couple years, and I make it.